Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another hot episode of a very special podcast. This is the podcast in which we watch all of your favorite TV series from yesteryear and then discuss it over a cool bottle of blueberry lemon seltzer water. I'm your boy, Patrick M. Dunn, and I'm joined here, as always, by the devil inside me, Kat Halstead, the author. Welcome back, Carol. Welcome back.
Oh my god. Okay, at least you didn't call me a prostitute again.
Well, I think I called you a mistress of the night, but it wasn't what I meant to. It had something to do with what we were doing at the time, and it came out wrong.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It really did.
You know,
And to be fair, I just listened to the episode where I called you out on that.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Saved by the Bell Close Encounters of the Nerd Kind episode, which just dropped this week.
Yeah.
In case you're at home taking notes.
Dude, I even forgot, the story, but I forgot about the Target multi-level marketing lady until I listened to that episode.
Who knew? Yeah, baby. Anyway, this is our glorious return to the airwaves because we haven't recorded in 2 months.
I don't think it's actually been that long, but it's been, close to it.
Yeah, probably 6 weeks. It's been a hefty amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, Bruce, the intern, he's back. He graduated, but I guess he's going for his master's now, so he's back and helping us out.
Okay, how old is Bruce?
We don't know. We're not allowed to ask him legally. We're not allowed to ask him. If I had to take a hot guess, I'd say 46.
Oh my goodness.
He's out of this world. We're glad to have you back, Bruce. We're glad. We were getting very scared of how we're going to do this podcast without you, but he's back. And hold on. Do you hear that noise behind me? A little tweeting of birds?
I do. Turn off the sound machine, Patrick.
That's no sound machine, girl, because I am in the wild. I am outside, recording outside today for the first time ever, I think, right?
I tried to record outside once.
Oh, yeah. Weren't you, locked out or something?
No, it was I couldn't find a place to, Axton was having his, physical occupational therapy in the playroom, which was my bedroom.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember this now.
And I couldn't record at the house because Dad was working. And those were really, the only two places. So I was, out on the front porch and it was windy. That was when we were using the call-in thing.
Oh, yeah, the cell phone app. So it probably didn't sound like the way it sounded for me. You could hear, wind blowing against the microphone and, the sound of a jet plane flying by. It's the Dad from Hogan family.
No, but it was super windy out.
Yeah.
It was super windy out that day, so...
Yeah, you know what? Your dad probably appreciated it. He didn't want to hear you talk about Marissa Cooper for an hour and a half.
No.
We're probably doing the OC. I feel like we're doing the OC for some reason.
Actually, I think we were doing Saved by the Bell.
Oh yeah, the two-parter, the one with the girl at the mall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to I don't know, episode 26 of the pod, maybe. It's an old one.
Something like that.
All right. Speaking of firsts, this is also going to be the first time we're dipping into this show, which we've talked about hundreds of times, I think, right?
Probably, because I still watch this show.
Yeah, it's still on after all these years. So it's 1965 or some bullshit like that?
Something like that. We just had an anniversary. I want to say 56 years, something like that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, 1965, 53 seasons.
Go me. Yeah, in case... that doesn't give it away.
Days of our lives.
Yes, like sands through them hourglasses. These are the podcast episodes about Days of Our Lives. And we're doing a string of 6 months worth of episodes apparently too.
Okay, so we're basically covering one storyline because it's so iconic.
I wouldn't say it was my introduction to the show, but it was my reintroduction to the show after a long absence of watching it as a child.
Okay, I figured this out. So it was 1995 when the storyline went down. So we were 14. This is pre-Pat and Cat Friends. Yeah, 2 years. So we're close. We're getting there. But
2 years out. 2 years out. We still got...
That means we're in the 8th grade. So I have been watching... Oh, no, we're 13.
Because this came out at the end of 95, right? And then it went into 96?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 95 into 96.
Yeah, so we're a year and some months away from the world premiere of Sunset Beach, which...
Oh my god. So this is oh man, this is peak us being into soap operas.
Yes, you know what? This storyline was my rambunctious return, because I remember the storyline had probably been going on for a few months now. It's probably early January, late January, early February. I just remember sitting in class one day, And I just heard these two chicks behind me in like study hall talking like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Marlena is possessed by the devil." And I was like, "What? Wait, hold on." What? Like turn around, I'm like, "Bitch, what?" And they're like, "Yeah, Marlena Evans." I'm like, "Oh yeah, bitch, I know her." And like, "Well, Stefano snuck into her house through an armoire and hypnotized her because he wanted to hypnotize her to make her fall in love with him. But I guess he failed and it, like weakened her psychologically, and that was just enough for the devil to swoop in and take over her earthly body. And now she's wreaking havoc
Oh my god.
on sale. I don't really know what she was doing. She wasn't really wreaking havoc, I don't think. Like, sorta, but
Okay, so like I started watching Days of Our Lives maybe about a year and a half-ish before this happened. Like I started watching around the time that they found Hope as the lady in white or whatever, like down in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, she was missing for a while. Didn't it involve Celeste?
Yeah,
Didn't it involve her some?
Yeah, I think so.
Shout out to Celeste.
Like I remember watching that, and so my favorite Days of Our Lives characters have always been and always will be Sammy Brady and Lucas Horton.
Oh yeah, who are still on the show today, right? Well, pretty much everyone is.
They are. That is like one true pair.
Yeah, the OTP.
Oh,
you mean you weren't down for Sawston?
no.
R.I.P. Austin. Is he dead? Did he just get? I don't know what the fuck I've done.
No, Austin's still alive. He can carry her off in like Switzerland.
They're living off the proceeds of their Swiss bank account right now.
Who knows what they're doing? I don't even know what they're doing. Like they pop back up every once in a while, and it's like, oh, okay, you guys can leave now.
They come in for like Christmas and or maybe like Will's birthday party or something.
Oh my god, Will.
All right, yeah. So I guess for whatever reason, the producers have been like kind of like moving along. The show was like actually like pretty high in the ratings. It was like faring to be popular, and John Riley, who was the head writer, I believe at the time, right? He was in charge.
So, like, you know, on Friends when Joey is on Days of Our Lives.
Yes, was it around this time?
And he pisses off the writer, and like he gets thrown down the elevator shaft. That's Johnny Riley.
I don't know. He was just bored with the show or something, and he went to Ken Corday.
He wanted to do something. Okay. Here's the thing about Johnny Riley.
I like that you call him Johnny. Here's Johnny.
John E.
Oh, John E. I thought like you had like a nickname for him, like Johnny. Hey,
Yeah.
Johnny Rocket.
J-E-R. He would go balls to the walls with his storytelling.
Oh yeah, he loved it.
Okay.
He fucking loved it, and it would piss off the fan base too.
This is also the man who freaking created Passions, which involved a witch and her talking doll.
Yeah, I read like the reason why he invented Passions was because he was just tired of like the Days of Our Lives fan base being like, we just want normal stories, and he was like, fine, I'm just gonna go do my own thing. And he was free from like, I don't know, 30 years of family history.
Yeah,
so he went on.
Passions was freaking crazy. Holy crap.
Yeah, that was some next level shit.
Oh my
Loved it. Come back. Ouija board us. Tell us what it's like to be a dead soap.
Sunset Beach would try to go balls to the walls, but
it was like a stepping stone to Passions, methinks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because your boy Johnny Rocket Riley, he was a storyline consultant, I think, on Sunset Beach for like maybe a year or two, like the last year or so.
Yeah, which is when it went.
Yeah, we had the Haunted Jewels storyline, and
it was like melting people or something. I don't even remember.
Yeah, you wore the Haunted Jewel, and your face would melt off if you like wore it past midnight. I think that was a storyline.
But yeah, so he told like the executives, he's like, oh yeah, I want to do this like Exorcist kind of thing. It'll start at around Halloween and end at Christmas with a miracle. No, this shit like went out till freaking Easter.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember watching this and being like, oh my god, like this is never ending. It was like Salem ended up in the middle of like this heat wave in the middle of winter. Everything was dry, worse than the desert.
Because it was Marlena wreaking havoc. So we have to talk. So we found it on YouTube, and it's in like 10-minute increments. There's like, I don't know, like 180 or so parts.
Yeah.
And I did the math, and it's about 30 hours of television. And they pretty much covered the whole storyline. I didn't know I was going to get into that. I thought this was going to be like maybe like a 2-hour compilation, like when we did the General Hospital, the Cassadine's freeze.
Ice Princess.
Yeah, the Ice Princess storyline. And no, and we get the whole fucking thing. Like,
yes, I should not have taken my sleeping pill right before I turned this on.
So we kind of jumped around. We hit the main beats. And
like I would just like click random ones and be like, ooh, where are we now?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, I'm like, ooh. And then I'm trying to figure out like what other like piece together in my mind where we are with the other storyline.
Oh yeah, because they would pepper in
at the time.
The other characters from time to time, because we got like Bo and Hope's wedding.
No, it wasn't Bo and Hope. It was Billy and Bo.
Billy. Lisa Rinna, right?
Yeah, because that was Robert Kelkerkelly's Bo. Woo.
Yeah, RKK. Ooh, yeah, your fave, right?
I enjoy Robert Kelkerkelly. I would not say he's my favorite.
You mean you didn't write Cat Kelkerkelly on your notebooks at school?
No.
I wish you did. I want to go back in time and see if you did or not.
Please. Okay, it's 1995. I am writing Kate Halstead and Jonathan Jackson.
Well, let's go back, because I watched like the first maybe 60 minutes of this. In depth. I like planned on like going through this whole thing like over time, and I didn't realize it was this long. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to watch 30 hours of television in one night to be able to talk about this the next day. So it's really like mysterious at first, and you kind of have this like sense no one really knows what's going on. And I have a question for you. Like, did we know that she was possessed, or was this kind of like a shock to the audience? Because like this is like pre-internet, really.
Yeah, this is like pre-internet kind of. It's early internet, so there's only so much. And in all honesty, in the early internet at this time, there's maybe one Days of Our Lives website. Maybe.
Was it Dustin's yet? Or
I think it's Dustin's,
dual. Shout out to Dustin in front of the show. Yeah. Is he still around? Is he still doing his thing?
I honestly don't know. I haven't like looked up most of the old sites in forever.
Little background information in like 1996, 97, 98, 99, maybe even like the early 2000s. If you missed an episode of Days of Our Lives and you're just itching to know what happened, you went on to it was like Dustin's Days of Our Lives page. He had like in-depth summaries. He had a message board, I think. He had spoilers, comings and goings, like who's coming, who's going. Maybe some surveys and polls. I think he had a trivia page. He had screen grabs, which was like super rare back in the day.
Oh yeah,
screen grabs.
Oh yeah, way rare. Like, oh my god, I remember when I got the equipment to do that. It was such a pain in the ass.
I think you can even like there was even like a forum where you could like trade tapes with people too. Like if you like needed a tape, you could go on and be like, hey, I got Hope in New Orleans. If you need the you need today's episode, we can trade, or I'll make a copy for you on my expensive equipment, because it was very expensive to copy a VHS tape. Well, you just need 2 VCRs, really.
Oh my god.
It was expensive though, because a VCR is like $300 probably. And you just buy 2 of them.
Oh, I just remember I would have to like take my VCR into my brother's room, hook it up just to make like compilations of like the teen characters on General Hospital.
Did it take you all day to do it?
Take forever.
Yeah.
Because you actually got to like watch the whole scene. It's not like you can just clip and be like,
trim.
Actually edit stuff.
Yeah, like if you fucked up, you actually had to like rewind the tape and then go back and start all over.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
You might have fucked up the previous clip, so you gotta like go back and fix that one. So you'd be out there for like hours to make like a 40-second compilation that you couldn't even share on the internet, because that would take like 2 hours to upload.
Yeah, you could. There was
maybe longer than that. I'm like downplaying. I'm like 2 hours.
This is like your whole Saturday, people.
Probably
this is your whole Saturday.
Yeah, this is what you're doing all day.
Oh my god. This is a look into what Pat and Kat were like as teenagers.
And then you'd hope to finish by 10 o'clock so you can watch The Profiler on NBC.
Oh my god.
All right, yeah, so we're at like the beginning of the episode, or series of episodes, and
the storyline.
Stefano has had a long time thing for Marlena Evans, right?
Yes, Stefano was obsessed with Marlena.
And he's kind of like
Stefano wanted her bad. Okay, Stefano would kidnap her multiple times.
Put her in a bird cage, I think. Wasn't there an episode where she's like in a bird cage?
Yeah, she's like in a cage. I think Kristen kidnapped her for that one.
Okay.
But, yeah, like he would kidnap her. He wanted her. Like, God. Like, I was watching this and I was kind of like, ooh, I forgot all about Stefano's part in this.
Yeah.
Because it's just been so long, and like, when you think about the storyline, you kind of forget about, like, all the other little pieces. You just think about Marlena levitating off that goddamn bed.
Yeah, there's more to than that, though. There's more to that.
Yeah, there's so much more.
So I feel like, in case we have any newcomers here, we have to explain Stefano Demera. So he's like the ultimate villain.
Okay, so hold on. Yes, okay, so...
You want to do a cast breakdown? A little cast breakdown of the main players?
Let's do a little.
Okay.
Like, let me think about who our major players are. We, of course, have Dr. Marlena Evans, who is, like, played by Deidre Hall, who is total badass. I love her.
She's like now the matriarch of the show, but back then she was just like a new girl in town.
Not even new. She'd been here for forever by that point.
Yeah, I guess you're right, yeah.
She's been on the show since the 70s.
Okay, all right. I'm like downplaying her belongingness.
There are few iconic soap women. And, like, your big three iconic soap lead women are Erica Kane,
played by our gal pal Susan Lucci.
Laura Spencer.
What about our girl Riva and her clone, Dolly? You just downplaying those two bitches?
And then, like, you're kind of... then you go to your Rivas, your Victoria Lord.
And then, alright, so Riva and her clone are 4 and 5, right? And your Hunter Tylo... Cat's rolling our eyes at Hunter Tylo, who's no longer missing. My mother, that was like we were super concerned about the whereabouts of Hunter Tylo for like...
What's so funny is... just like maybe sometime last week, my friends on Twitter were watching The Bold and the Beautiful, and they're like, "Where's Taylor? They should like have Taylor in this. This is stupid that Taylor's not there." And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, at least she's not like missing again.
Yeah, I was listening to an old episode of the pod a couple weeks ago, not even like a couple days ago, and it was when we were like super concerned about the whereabouts of Hunter Tylo, because like, by that point she hadn't tweeted in like 3 months, and we were like, is she kidnapped by her crazy ex-husband? Did she join the Sea Org? Like, we had so many conspiracies, and we just needed to know. But spoiler alert: she's now safe and sound. I actually just checked her Twitter like an hour ago, and she's out there. She just tweeted like yesterday or something, so she's around.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she retweeted something.
That's good to know.
She's good. We don't have to worry about her. Hunter Archilla.
Yeah.
Hunter Archilla.
Something like that. So Marlena's like your iconic heroine. You love Marlena. You're rooting for her to be with the love of her life, John Black.
But at that time, it was Roman, though, right?
No.
Okay.
He's John Black.
No, I meant
Nope.
the love of her life at that time was Roman.
We are post affair with John that set Sammy off to become Hurricane Sammy.
He gone girl?
Okay.
Ah, okay. Hurricane Sammy. I love it. I stand. Shout out to Sammy Brady, Allison Sweeney, friend of the show, friend of us. Call us later. Give us tidbits.
The love of Marlena's life is John Black. She had been married to Roman Brady. There was this whole thing of where Roman was thought to be dead, and then came back, but it was really John Black who thought he was Roman, and they just thought he had had plastic surgery or something, you know.
Then he came back, and he was the dad from Hogan family.
And then Roman came back, but then he died again, and then he came back as the dad from the Hogan family.
Okay, that's where the dad from the Hogan family was going all this time when he was on these long flights. He was really going to Salem.
Well, he had played another character on Days of Our Lives in the early 80s.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but we talked about that, I think, right?
It was like a friend of Roman's. Like, he's in the Roman and Marlena wedding.
Yeah. I don't know, Conspiracy Corner?
So it gets really awkward.
Conspiracy Corner? Maybe it's really the friend? Did anyone double check that? Did anyone ever go back and look at the receipts?
Apparently not.
You know what? People have short memories in this town.
The thing about John Black is that his past is a mystery.
Yeah.
He has been constantly, for the last, 20-something years, almost longer, 25 years, been trying to piece together who he is, where he came from, all these things about his past. At this point in time, he has found out he is a part of the Alamein family. Vivian is his aunt. Apparently, she's the only living member of that family. And at some point in time, John became a priest before Stefano plucked him out of that life and turned him into, a killing machine with a computer chip implanted in his brain and stealing art with brainwashed Hope as Princess Gina and like all this insane stuff.
So, like, are we even sure he's human? Could he be like a robot? Could he be like an android?
I mean,
have we checked inside him? Have we looked in his insides? Has he ever had surgery?
He's had surgeries and stuff.
Okay.
Like, he gets paralyzed at one point.
And then he gets fixed by Mike Horton.
In the 2000s. But then, like, eventually, John finds out that his dad is basically Jigsaw. Same actor.
I remember that.
Same crazy shit goes out. Like, there's this whole... Oh, my God.
You know what? This is when...
Oh, that stuff is so good.
This is when Days and Saw crossover.
Oh, my God.
Coming this summer to the Cineplex. All right.
Yes.
I have a question. I have a hot question. And... you know what? This always crossed my mind in 1995, 96 when I watched this. I never like looked up the answer to it, and I never thought about it till like last night when I was watching this. So, is John Black actually a priest?
Not anymore.
But was he like ever really a priest, or was he just like brainwashed into thinking he was a priest?
According to like the Catholic Church, he was a priest.
Okay, so he like sought out the profession.
Yeah, like he had that
himself
is what he like. There's even like this weird line in one of the early clips where he's like, I've always thought about being a priest, but just didn't do it, and like all this weird stuff. So then he finally like piecing together his past and comes to this part, and it gets very like weird. Like they won't let him just out. Like he's got this whole thing where he's like, I didn't know who I was, you know, I don't know my past, and hey, I don't want to be a priest anymore. That's not where I am anymore. And then the like local bishop makes him keep doing priest stuff for like the next 6 months.
Oh.
Here's the thing.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like.
John doesn't want to be a priest anymore, but they keep like pulling him into this Father John thing, you know. And Marlena is the more John gets pulled into that, the more Marlena being controlled by this entity. And every time he there's this whole dichotomy of John and the priesthood and Marlena being controlled, and the more John fights being a priest, the more control it gets over Marlena. It's this whole thing.
Do you think that the devil went to Marlena because maybe it was kind of like a fuck you to John trying to like escape the priesthood, maybe? Like it was a punishment, a penance?
I think it was just this like perfect storm of circumstance.
Ooh.
The devil was going to try to get Marlena as punishment to John, but Stefano just happened to have totally screwed with her head with the hypnotic drugs he was giving her to try to make her fall. Because, okay, so like so Stefano was drugging Marlena, and he would sneak into her room at night through her armoire.
Yeah, there's like a tunnel that goes into her bedroom from somewhere.
Yeah.
Underground, I don't know.
And he would, like, try to hypnotize her into having these dreams about, like, wanting him. And, like, they were totally unsettling her. She was, like, freaking out. Like, she would be trying to sleep.
It was, like, these, like, wild romantic getaways. Like, little, like, sexy locales. Like, I don't know, like the island from Love Island, maybe. They're out there, late, canoodling on the beach. It's the beach from Swept Away. He's shirtless.
They'd be, like, at, like, this fancy masquerade ball, and
she
couldn't see his face.
It's like eyes wide shut.
But she was so drawn to him. Like, oh my god.
Which is a perfect segue.
There are very few actresses who could have sold that, and Marlena Evans is one of them.
This is the perfect segue into describing Stefano, because I feel like we gotta paint the character of Stefano for anyone who might not know who he is. So he's kind of like, when did he was introduced in what, like the 80s, I think?
Yes. Early 80s.
So he's kind of like,
I believe,
just this man of well means. Like he's well connected to financial resources, and just like he's like a Bond villain ultimately. He's like Salem's Bond villain.
Yeah. And
he just kind of is this like Count Dracula-esque type guy who just kind of is like a shadow on the town, like a dark shadow on the town, and everyone's just scared of him, but they're also like, they allow him to like just come into town and like live there and I don't know, roam about. Like they don't try to stop him or anything. They don't call the feds or like the army or anything. Like he's just there.
They always just let their little small town police department deal with him.
Yeah,
He was the Phoenix. He was thought to be dead a few times, then he would rise from the dead and all this stuff.
And he has, like, henchmen. He's got, like, henchmen all over the place, all over the world.
He's got his little followers. His children were, for the most part, down to do his bidding, and some of them are pretty crazy. Like, you get... Oh, God, I can't... It's so complicated.
So, he like... Does he live in, like, Salem? Like, I could never figure it out. Like, I always just, like, figured there's, like, a giant mountain next to the town.
Yes, he lived in Salem. There's the Demera Mansion.
Yeah, okay. I just, like, picture it being like the Grinch. Like, it's up the top of this huge mountain, and he overlooks and looks down at them. Like Frankenstein's castle.
I mean, that's more like the Cassadines on General Hospital, because they have an island just outside it. Like, off the coast of town.
I don't know. That's just, like, the vision that I have in my head. But he's just, like, always there. He's always in, like, meddling in people's affairs. But, like, his main target is always Marlena. Like, he doesn't want to hurt her. He wants, like, her to be in love with him.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I wonder what she did to him initially. Like, that's the one. Like, it's her.
She probably just, like, smiled, and he was like, that's it. You're the one.
She's got the golden pussy or something. I don't know. I bet you, like, he was always, like, evil, but... Maybe, like, he would go to Salem when he wanted just to get away from being evil. He's like, yeah, this is just a quiet place where I don't have to worry about, like, doing my evil bidding. Just like a little vacation spot. And maybe he was at the grocery store one day, and, I don't know, maybe, like, his cantaloupe rolled out of his cart, and, like, Marlena, like, was there that day shopping herself, and she, like, picked it up and, like, gave it to him. He's like, oh, you dropped your cantaloupe. And he's like, oh, thank you. You know, maybe, like, she was buying a lot of stuff, and he was only buying that one cantaloupe, and then she's like, hey, why don't you go before me in line, kind of thing. And he's like, oh, I like her. And then, like, maybe they had, like, another moment, like, at the car, too. Like, maybe, you know, maybe someone almost hit him with their car. And then she stopped him from crossing into the parking lot. And there's all these circumstances. And he's like, you know what? That's three things she did for me. So he followed her home, found out where she lived. Spent, like, 20 years, like, digging a tunnel from his castle to her bedroom, right behind her armoire, kind of thing. And it's now 1995, and you get to do his greatest trick, because, like, you know, he's been trying to make her love him all these years, and he finally got a hold of some drugs that would hypnotize her, and he could, like, talk to her in her sleep, kind of thing.
Oh my God.
That was just enough for the devil to come swooping in, who's the next big villain in the story, the devil himself, Beelzebub.
So Stefano is, like, that villain who, there were times he would pop up after being gone for years. Like, this is a man who has, like, 10 kids, okay?
He's just fucking women all over the world, but you know what?
Well, okay.
Only Marlene is good for him.
Okay, so his sons are Andre Demera, Stefan Demera, Jake Lambert, Benji Hawk, EJ Demera, Chad Demera.
EJ.
Adopted
Chad.
Peter Blake.
Ugh.
And then he has the daughters Renee Dumond, Megan Hathaway, Lexi Carver, and adopted Kristen Demira. And he also has a stepson, Tony Demira. But I feel like Tony and Andre are actually twins. And it's this whole fucked up thing that I can't even keep up with after
all these years.
Yeah, because it's like, they're twins, they look alike, one was dead, but the other was taking his place, and the other's not really dead, and it's, I'm just like, I don't know.
I love it. I stand. All right.
I don't know who it is anymore. Like, I'm just like, it's this guy. I'm just gonna call you Tony right now, because that's the name I'm going with.
All right, so what happens is, Marlene's been secretly being drugged by Stefano. It's just enough for the devil to swoop in.
Yeah, it, like, breaks her down enough that devil entity can start to consume her and wreak havoc in Salem.
But as the viewer, we don't really know what's going on. We just see her kind of acting weird. She keeps locking herself in her bedroom, picking up like 200 pounds of furniture by herself and blocking the door so John can't get in. But he ends up getting in somehow because he's strong. He's a strong priest.
Yeah.
And he takes her to the hospital. I don't know. They're all like trying to figure out what's going on. And they have these theories. They just keep saying it's a reaction to the medication because I guess she's been on some kind of...
Like, that's all they can come up with because they're like, they don't understand. Because then they'll give her like a heavy-duty sedative. And she's up walking around like, hey guys, what's up? You know, Dr. Mike Horton will be like, Marlena, I just gave you like a super, like, triple dose of sedative. Bitch, what you doing?
Yeah, she's up walking around. She's going to the cafeteria, getting a snack pack.
She's just like, okay. She's like, well, I can go home. And it's like, lady, you don't understand. Like, what?
But she also goes through these like fits of rage unexplainably. So like for like no reason she's like strangling
Yeah.
John, or she like I don't know attacks a nurse or something. Maybe attacks Dr. Horton, and they're just like, oh, it's just a reaction to the drugs. It's just, like, you know what? In that first hour of watching this string of episodes, like I must have heard it's just a reaction to the drug like a million times. Like I wish I counted the number of times I heard it.
Oh my god. Like, with a Riley soap, you were gonna get a lot of repetitiveness, and things get drawn out.
Yeah, because I think it was at about this point
Like,
where I'm like, you know, I'm gonna clip to like clip number 30 right here. So I clicked on over.
yeah, I just start clicking throughout. Because there's a point where I'm like, I know a Riley soap, it's gonna repeat itself like 30 times about something, and it's just...
Flashback to something from the previous clip.
Yeah, and then it's just gonna be her standing there talking to herself.
Yeah, like a little wrap up of what's been going on. Like, here's in case you've missed the
Exactly.
last 2 weeks of worth of episodes. I went to the hospital and came back. That's all I did, and no one knows what's going on with me.
I appreciated, as a 14-year-old girl who was like in school watching this, because I could only watch it like once in a while.
Yeah, you don't like intermittently watch it.
Because I didn't have a VCR of my own then, so it's not like I could tape Days of Our Lives to watch. I think, I wonder, I think there was that talk show on E that was still running.
Oh yeah, Talk Soup like the soap version of it.
Soap Talk. No, that's not it. What was it called?
Yeah, it was on like 7:30 at night, like weeknights, and they just kind of did like a wrap up of the day, like tell you what was going on, kind of thing.
Pure Soap. Pure Soap, that's what it was called. That show also very much helped create the soap obsession with me.
One of my favorite scenes, this is like a 30-minute clip, by the way, that I'm watching here, is so we're leading up to, did you say it was Bo and Billy's wedding?
Yes, Bo and Billy.
We get a number of episodes that take place at the church. So there's just a lot of like congregating at the church. There's just a lot of like John Black walking around the church for some reason. And we just see this like chandelier. The camera just focuses on it so many times, and we just see it swinging. It closes up on like the little screws that hold it to the beam that it's attached to.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of like whenever it like cuts to a commercial or maybe like an episode ends, the camera like just swings up and we see it. And like I'm sure at the time you're just kind of like never didn't pay attention to any of it, like didn't pay attention to that going on. I guess it's now the wedding day. It's maybe like an hour before the ceremony. And I guess Marlena had another episode, so she was like, you know, she wasn't going to go to the wedding or something. She was supposed to be at home resting. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, so Alice Horton, she was the matriarch at the time. She was, I don't know, like 86 at this point, probably.
No, not that old.
Okay, well, she was old. She looks old. She like steps outside of the church for some reason. It's night. It's like late at night. It's like windy. It's like mysteriously windy. And it's that, they have that real ominous music that they've been playing.
The music is like on point. It's that like perfect soap opera music, and it's perfectly creepy as hell.
Yes, it's great. And like it always play like whenever it plays, like something weird happens, like maybe like something moves in the background on its own or something.
Yeah.
Or you know they're gonna do a close up on Marlena's eyes and they just look a little off, or maybe her like skin looks extra pale, or maybe she's like they think she's all right, but then they close up on her face and play that music. But they're playing this music again when like Alice is outside and she's like, "John, is that you? Are you there, John?" And like no one answers. Mm-hmm. And you hear like the wind pick up again. You see like the leaves whistling in the wind, and then the camera pans to like a I don't know, like a bush that's like nearby, and you just see like two evil eyes just like focused on Alice, and like you feel like something horrible is gonna happen. And then all of a sudden, like, Marlena just steps out like everything's normal, and she's like, "Oh, Marlena, it's just you." She's like, "Yeah, sorry, I heard you when I was walking up the walkway." And she's like, "Well, why didn't you say anything?" And she's like, "Oh, well, just wanted to wait till I get closer. I didn't want to scare you too much. You know, you're an old lady. I don't want to give you a heart attack or something." And she's like, "Oh, okay." Well, then she's like, well, why are you here? Like, I was told that you weren't well." She's like, "No, I'm feeling much better now. You know, I'm ready for this big wedding ceremony."
Yeah. Like,
something's a little off about her. Like, Alice even picks up on a little bit. She's kind of like, "Well, you look great, but your skin's just really fair right now." And I don't know, like she like tries to get close, and then like Marlena just like brushes it off and like goes inside or something. Like gearing up for the ceremony now. Everyone's there. The whole family's there. The whole wedding party. They're playing the song. Maybe Billy's coming down the aisle. I believe it's Lisa Rinna at this point.
Yes, it is Lisa Rinna. Yeah, this is still okay. So like this is early enough that it's still Lisa Rinna, and it is because it's Robert Kelker Kelly as Bo. So we're still like a little bit of ways from Peter Ruckel returning as Bo, and at that point, like Hope is not going to know who the hell she is until that happens.
So the wedding's going on. It's like about to start. It's about to get to like the good stuff, and I'm guessing it must have been like a Friday afternoon. This is like a Friday cliffhanger right here.
Oh, this had to have been the cliffhanger.
And all of a sudden, like the camera cuts to like above the chandelier, so you kind of like see the chandelier. You see like the angle it's at, so it could probably like crush like, I don't know, 5 or 6 people and kill them instantly.
Yeah.
And the ominous music starts playing. We get little close-ups of Marlena again, her evil eyes. And all of a sudden, you see the like the little like screw that holds it into place snaps, and it falls down.
The devil, as Marlena, had like taken some of the bolts, so like you've just been waiting for this damn thing to finally freaking crash down.
Yeah, and like right before it's about to crush everybody, it like goes to black, so you don't know what happens. Then you cut to like the next scene. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it just missed everybody at the nick of time or something. And everyone's all shook. All shook. My favorite line, I think it's Alice who says it. She's like, "That chandelier has been there for hundreds of years. Why would it fall right now?" I'm like, what do you, why wouldn't it fall right now? If it's been there for like hundreds of years, like now would be the perfect time for it to fall. Like, ugh. I don't know.
Well, like, okay, so like, there are people like in the church, it's like they're always checking to make sure there's like no damage, or like if there's something that needs to get fixed, gets fixed. And it's like,
they do assessments.
How did you idiots like all miss that the chandelier needed extra support?
Yeah, because there was a big like inquisition into this, because they were like mad at like somebody because, oh, we should have checked the beams. You know, this wedding was supposed to be perfect. How dare you not check the beams?
Yeah.
I feel like leading up to this though, John kept seeing some weird things at the church.
Well, because John is like always at the church. If John is not like chilling out in Marlena's bedroom,
he's at church.
He is at the church,
and he keeps seeing weird things. He's noticing odd things.
He's always chilling in Marlena's bedroom.
I don't know. Like he starts to suspect something's up. He doesn't come out and say possession, but he's like, something's afoot here. And he's like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. And because all like the medical tests are inconclusive. I don't know. Like they're about to like fire Mike Horton from this hospital because he like can't figure out what's going on with like the town psychiatrist or whatever the fuck it is that Marlena is.
Yeah, she's the psychiatrist.
Everyone wants answers. They can't find answers. They're calling in specialists from all over the world. And like we even like cut over to like Stefano and Celeste like in their evil lair.
Oh god. Celeste is like one of those perfect kooky characters. Even though they're like a little out there, you can't help but love. She is like a devoted Stefano henchman. She is the mother of his daughter Lexi. She has some psychic abilities. Like, so she like reads her tarot cards and whatnot, and she like is in tune with that. But she's also very like, we shouldn't be messing with this, Stefano. Like, Stefano, you gotta, like, something's not right. Like, she keeps telling Stefano to stop this with Marlena. Like, dude, what you're doing is, like, this is not, you're opening something you don't want to open. Like, she's always, like, warning something bad is gonna happen. She's usually right. Because it gets to a point where people are like, okay, whatever, Celeste, whatever. We're just gonna let you be kooky.
I think it's right before the chandelier falls. They cut over to her, like, in her lair with Stefano, and she's like, all right, like, you know that odd feeling that I've been having for the last couple of weeks? She's like, well, it's at a peak right now. The birds are warning me. Like, I don't know, she keeps, like, saying all these things. And they do this, like, real dramatic thing with the tarot cards, and she, like, puts one card down, and it'll, like, say, like, death. And then, like, cuts to a commercial, like a dramatic pause right there. It's great. So she's kind of like in the midst of this now, and I kind of jumped up to a few episodes. So I'm not really sure at what point this happens, but at some point they like full blown go into like the possession aspect of it. So now we get like an internal devil voice that we hear like inside Marlena's head, and it's just like,
yes,
Marlena, today is the day that you're gonna, I don't know, make the town be 100 degrees. In the middle of winter.
It is this, like, very masculine voice. And it'll be the voice that starts coming out of Marlena herself.
And it's always, like, her laying in bed.
Yeah.
And you just see her, like, flailing in bed. Like, her arms flailing, her legs flailing. She's, like, rolling over. She can't get comfortable. And, like, the voice is talking. Oh, it's great. And
Yeah.
I guess at some point though, the possession starts affecting her like physically. Like so, like now you can see it in her eyes, so she has to wear these like aviator sunglasses all the time.
Yes, because her eyes are now like green. She's got these amazing contact lenses that just.
Does she come out of it for like bits and pieces here and there, and she's like normal?
She a little bit, but it's getting more and more where like the devil is in control. Like
So when the devil's in control, then the eyes are always green. Like they can't be ungreen.
because it comes to the point like when we eventually get to the end of this, John's like her eyes are normal.
Oh yeah, that's like the indicator.
Oh my god, the end is so cheesy of this. The end is so freaking cheesy.
So we get to this long stretch of episodes where she's wearing these aviator sunglasses, and she's like in and out of the hospital. Like she's like laid in a hospital bed wearing these sunglasses, and it's just like no one was like, "We should take these off, Marlena. You're sleeping." No, like they just allow her to wear these, and like I think there's like an episode too where she's like indoors walking around with them in her home, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I can't believe this. At some point, everyone becomes aware that she's like fully possessed, and they kind of do like the Exorcist thing where they like tie her to the bed and they like trap her in the room, and they're like calling priests from all over the world. They're coming in trying to get rid of this thing. They can't, and like finally John's like they even like Stefano gets involved. He's like in the room with them too at some points. I don't know why, but
yeah, like Stefano's there, Kristen DiMera.
Yeah. What the fuck? So
this is before Kristen's like crazy, but
so at some point.
Yeah, like just all these. Caroline Brady's always there.
So like
looking back, I'm like, why are all these people here? These are like the weirdest people to put together.
No one can get rid of the devil, so John's like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do it myself. And it gets to a point. This is like the climax of like everything. This is like the apex of the possession, where they do the levitating scene, which. I feel like this is like probably 30 episodes, right?
A lot, and this went on for so long. Like, think about it. It went on for twice as long as it was originally said it would, like, plan to go on. Just, like, kept going and going.
It's actually pretty impressive, like, looking back at it from, like, a day-to-day soap opera standards. So... this is like Hollywood special effects here that we get. And like from what I read, I looked into this, it's actually very practical effects is what I read. She's like laying in bed. I want to say she's even like tied to the bed for some reason. She's in like a white robe. Her eyes are green. Her hair's a mess. Her face is white. She's like, I don't know, swearing at people and all this stuff. And so she like raises up from the bed, and there's like this like glow of white light. It's like shining around her. They're like trying to push her down back into the bed, but they can't. And you can actually see like the wires. I think if you look close enough, you see like the like.
If you get close enough on the blurry like old screen.
Yeah. So I guess they had her like suspended with some wires, and she was floating above. Well, they're trying to make it look like she was floating above the bed, and she's just dangling now. So I can't remember exactly how it ends, but I guess he just says like one prayer though. It's like it's over. Like it ends.
Okay, so Marlena, that's not even how it, like, Marlena actually, like, doesn't come out of it, like, she's pronounced dead, and then she's, like, in the morgue, and John just keeps going back to the morgue to see her. Like, she's in the freaking morgue for days.
I missed, like, I skipped around a lot, I didn't watch all these.
Yeah, like, she's in the morgue, and I'm, like, trying to figure out what's going on.
Isn't she, like, banging on it? She's, like, trying to get out?
No, like, none of that. She's, like... dead, like pronounced dead, and like John has her like laying out on the table because he takes her from the like tray. Like they literally had her in the like wall cabinet tray.
Were they gonna bury her at some point, or were they just gonna do like tests on her or something? Maybe that's why they didn't.
I think so. I think yeah, but he's in there and he's like, then Gabriel the angel shows up, and John's at this point where he's been so torn, like, he was diving deeper into the priesthood to help Marlena, but that wasn't the right way, this whole thing, and he, like, finally, like, says something, like, it's not even, like, the way the articles I read made it sound was, like, he just said, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
And it was over?
You know, that kind of thing, and it was over, but no, he said something, it was similar. But it was like, I cast thee out of you, or something ridiculous like this. But it was like a simple line, and then it was like Marlena came back to life. And then John takes her to the church where everybody's having her funeral.
And then she comes back out of it and her eyes are normal.
She's like, no, she's good. Her eyes are normal. And then they have to tell her, like, Sammy ran away because the devil was a bitch to Sammy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they were just like, they wanted to age the character, right? So, was that the...
Well, okay. Alison Sweeney was playing Sammy at this point.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize
She
that.
had been. Okay. Because she had been playing Sammy for a few years because teenage Sammy caught John and Marlena sleeping together, conceiving Belle, and then Sammy sold Belle on the black market, and then, like, it was this whole thing, because Sammy was, like, upset she wanted her parents together, but then, around this time, Sammy had slept with Lucas, conceived Will, and I couldn't find the clip. I was trying to find Sammy Marlena stuff in this, and I couldn't really find what I was looking for, but Sammy, like, goes to Marlena for something, and Marlena's, like, in full-on devil mode and, like, scares Sammy away, so Sammy just, like, runs away, she's pregnant, she thinks it's Austin's baby. Austin and Carrie are engaged, and they're all like, oh, we're looking for Sammy, we have, like, a nationwide search going on, but nobody's found her.
Well, did anyone call her to tell her that her mom's back? Mom back from the dead? No longer possessed?
Sammy will show up.
It's a while, I think, right?
Sammy shows up right before Austin and Carrie's wedding, announces that she's pregnant with Austin's baby at the wedding.
And then gets hit by a car?
And then Carrie punches her.
When does she get hit by a car?
That's years later.
Okay, I don't know. It's all like, it always seems like at the same time in my head. Alright, so, back to John Black. I have a theory, though, like, that in order for his incantation to work, like, he has to go down on, like, a spiritual journey. Like, I don't think he can just say the words. This ain't like the Charmed Sisters. He can just recite a line.
Because he said the same stuff, like, before. Like, he actually gets frightened. He's like, I've said this before. Why didn't it work then? He's like, because you had to be in the right, like, basically you had to be in the right freaking mindset and the right, like, spiritual level.
Yeah, like, there has to be a certain series of events has to happen. I think he has to go down a path. He has to, like, he just can't say it to say it. He has to, like, actually mean it, and he has to come to grips with reality, so to say, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not just like, you know, Prue Halliwell just reciting off a line from her mom's book, from Finola Hughes' book, to vanquish a demon. No, there's more to it than that, girl. There's more to it than that. Yeah, so from what I gathered, the storyline just, like, suddenly ends, and then they just, like, move on to, like, what other storylines they had going on the show, and that just kind of, like, overtook the show. Like, it was just, like, a thing. I even think, like, the producers were like, all right, we need to fucking end this. Like, people are pissed.
Well, they were like, this is going on too long. They're like, Riley,
yeah,
we know you, like, love this stuff, but no, we gotta... That was James E. Riley, not Johnny Riley. James E. Riley.
Is it James E. Riley?
You're getting him confused with the actor John Riley from General Hospital. Played Dell on Sunset Beach.
I don't know. Well, his last name was Riley. Sorry, correction corner. So...
Sorry, my coffee just kicked in.
Fans around the world, just a lot of people reacted negatively to this storyline as it was happening. Like,
which is so funny, because, like, if you meet somebody... and, you know, somehow soap operas come up.
This story comes up.
They'll be like, oh yeah, remember when Marlena was possessed by the devil?
I have a theory, because I think this is kind of like what drew me into it as a 13, 14-ish year old child. And probably, you know, the two girls I heard in school talking about it too, and other people talking about it. And, like, I don't know, even, like, I remember, like TV Guide was talking about it and stuff. And it was exciting at first. I think if it was like a Halloween to Christmas thing, that would have been great. Would have been a good run, but I think long-time fans of the time, you know, people who've been probably watching it since the 60s or 70s or even the 80s, when, like, the super couples took over.
Yeah.
These are just, like, those people are just, like, turned off by it. They're like, what the hell? They're like, it's fucking March and we're still dealing with a storyline. It's like Salem's been in a dry heat wave for the last 4 months, it seems like.
Yeah.
And Marlena's still walking around as the devil, and it's like, how long can you really do that for, right? Am I right?
Yeah,
but
okay, so, like, as I'm, like, thinking, this is also what was happening in Salem at that time. You have Sammy has run away. She is pregnant with Will, who she thinks is Austin's, but it will turn out to actually be Lucas's. Bo and Billy are together, but there's this shadow over them of who the heck is this woman who looks just like his dead wife?
Yeah, Princess Gina coming back.
And you get Alice, like, even at the wedding, there's this great part. Alice, like, objects to this wedding. She's like, I cannot let this wedding happen because I think this woman is my granddaughter, Hope, and if that's true, Hope is married to Bo, and Bo and Billy cannot be married. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, Alice.
She's so
badass.
She's so like chill about it too. Like it's like, you know,
Yeah.
like why would this woman not be your daughter?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure this is my granddaughter.
Well, like
So you can't get married. And then the priest is like, yeah, hearing all that, we're not to do this today. Sorry, guys. You know, the chandelier wasn't enough to stop this wedding. It took freaking Alice Horton. Like, the devil tried to stop this wedding and couldn't, so then Alice Horton had to, like, speak up and be like, nope.
Yeah, and when she spoke,
Nope.
people listened.
Yes. So you get, like, all of that going on. There is the whole, the Embryo Switch. Victor and Kate are together and wanted to have a kid, so they got some embryos inseminated or whatever, and they were going to be implanted in Kate, but they accidentally got implanted in Vivian, and Vivian is pregnant with Philip Kyriakis at the time.
I love it.
Oh my god.
I stand. All right. We missing anything else out in this whole pantheon of episodes? I feel like we covered it all.
I feel like we got the main beats. There was more going on in Salem, but there's a few things. Like, I miss the old outdoor Salem place set so much. Like, it was just like this real part of the lot, the Sony lot, and that they did construction nearby and couldn't use it, and then we haven't seen it since.
I was looking for cemetery scenes. I couldn't find any though. I mean, I'm sure there were a bunch, but
I know.
I just wanted to see myself a good cemetery late at night scene. Someone in the bushes watching with a hood on, like always happens in Salem.
To be fair, Marlena was hanging out in the bushes a lot.
Oh, I was excited when I actually, like, I caught it at the right time. Like, I was like scrolling through, like I would click an episode and just kind of like pan the YouTube video just so I can like see what's going on, and I saw two eyes in the bushes, and I was like, oh, gotta go back a minute, see what's going on there. Oh, I love it. I love a good lurker in the bushes in Salem. It's great.
Oh my god, she was
she was in the bushes a lot.
She is. I don't think she's in the bushes that much again until she becomes a serial killer.
Yeah, you know what? After the serial killer storyline with her, she's probably like, it's got to be out of my contract. I spent like a good chunk of my life in these fake bushes. Had enough of it. Don't let me do it anymore. All right. What's going today on the show? Have we had any graveyard scenes lately? Because you know I love myself a good exhuming of a body.
Not that I have seen. We've got Lucas trying to win Sammy back. EJ is about to show up. Lucas and Sammy slept together, and I was like, yay, my babies. I just love Lucas and Sammy. I love them so much. Stefano is dead.
Well,
Hope murdered him about 5 years ago.
The actor died in real life.
and then the actor died in real life. But
yeah. R.I.P. girl. R.I.P. What's his name again? Like Crazy Joe DeVola or something?
Joseph Moscalo.
Oh, that's it. Sorry, Joseph Moscalo. We speak your name.
Steven has met him.
Yeah. I think he said about Days of Days, right? Whatever it's called.
It was something like way back in the day when we were in high school.
Oh, I thought he said about Days of Days. Which is like the annual Days of Our Lives like festival that happens at like Disney World or Disneyland every year.
No, it happens at like Grove or something.
I thought it was at an amusement park. No, that's the ABC stuff, right? That's the ABC.
You're thinking of what was Super Soap Weekend.
Oh yeah, SSW. Sorry.
I never got to go.
You never got to see Reaver and a clone at fucking Teacup Ride. Well, that's CBS. That's CBS.
Yeah, you're mixing your networks and.
I don't know. Well, where did the CBS folks go? Where did they go?
The
Macy's in New York City.
Never had anything.
I would have loved to have gotten to meet Reaver and her clone. That would have been amazing. Or like Olivia Richards at the bar, maybe.
I mean, I did meet Wally Kurth and Billy Warlock at a Kmart in New York City when they did a signing, and I met A. Martinez at the mall that I worked at for a signing.
I'm gonna say those are catches right there. Those are three big ones. You got to see A. Martinez, star of Santa Barbara, I think he was on, right, at the time?
Santa Barbara, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives.
He was also on The Profiler, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, you and The Profiler. Okay, so the guy who played The Profiler, Thomas Weiss.
Yes. No, that's The Pretender. That's
Yes.
The Pretender.
Well, he played
but-
Mike Horton back in the day, in the 80s.
Yes, I remember that. And he also was on the Dark Shadows reboot that happened in the 90s, like the nighttime one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then he became The Pretender, not The Profiler. The Profiler was Ally Walker.
Wait, are you sure we're on the same show?
No, The Profiler was like she was like in the FBI or something, and she kind of like she was a murder profiler, but she also
Oh, okay.
she kind of like had like premonitions of crimes and stuff. And it had Ally Walker. A. Martinez was on a bunch of episodes, I think. Tracy Lords is an episode.
You know what? They came out at like the same time, didn't they? Yeah, they came out the same year.
They were on Saturday night.
They had the same like time of run.
Yeah, but Ally Walker left the final season, and they replaced her with Jamie Lunar, who we know from Savannah and Melrose Place.
Ugh.
Wasn't as good.
And All My Children.
Yeah, and All My Children.
And Just the 10 of Us.
Oh, yeah.
Never forget her on Just the 10 of Us.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, where's Ally Walker been? But she just she was on Longmire, so she's still doing things. She was on Ghosted, which that was that show that was on Fox. It was like a X-Files type comedy.
Okay.
She did Colony, which I think that was that show that was on USA that had
Oh yeah, that was the one with Sawyer from Lost.
she's been on a number of episodes of Law and Order, Seinfeld. Yeah, she's had a good run. Shout out to Ally Walker, friend of the show, Ally Walker. Tweet us, tell us what it's like to be a star of a Saturday night crime drama or on. Oh, that's her calling right now. There she is.
Oh my! See, for some reason, I thought she was the chick on The Pretender
No.
with Thomas Weiss.
No.
But to be fair, like that's all just a blur. Like I kind of remember vaguely trying to watch them, but they just didn't
So the
stick for me
I'm gonna describe the
for whatever reason.
NBC Saturday Night shows for you. So The Profiler was like adult Scooby-Doo. She's out there solving crimes, and then they'd like unmask the murder at the end. The Pretender was like adult Tom and Jerry. So you had the guy, the Pretender. He could like become anybody he wanted to. He kind of was like a gifted man. I think they like tampered with his DNA or something, and he escapes this like facility, and so like he could like read a book, and all of a sudden he could be like a race car driver, or he's a pilot, or like he could do that. And then there's this like woman who is like I guess like the bounty hunter of this organization, and they're like trying to catch him back, and like he's always like 5 steps ahead, and she's like, oh, always almost there. It is like a town to town wandering type show, like Incredible Hulk, or I don't know, Route 66 or something. Like he was always in like sexy new places every week.
Hey, The Profiler and The Pretender were in the same universe because they would cross over.
Yes, that's right. There was an episode where
that explains some of my blurriness in my head.
Yeah, you'd have to like it'd start on like at 9 o'clock on The Pretender, and it would wrap up at 10 on The Profiler. Oh, I loved it. Great times to be alive. All right, I'm gonna ask the age-old question. You ready for it? Ready for the ever-important question?
Okay.
On a scale of 1 out of 5 aviator sunglasses, how many aviator sunglasses would you rate the Marlena possession storyline of Days of Our Lives? Are we going to get a rare Cat 5, which is just a hurricane of emotions and love and adoration? Are we going to get a Midland score? Are we going to get a Midland score? Or are we going to get a goose egg?
Okay.
Like a little Parks and Rec goose egg?
Okay, first of all, how dare you even compare this storyline to the trash that is Parks and Rec? How dare you?
I had to do it.
How dare... Okay, so this storyline is iconic. It is wild. It is crazy. I'm gonna give it a 4. 'Cause there's still... Like, it's not perfect. It's drawn out, but it is pop culture iconic.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 also. I agree with you. It would have gotten a 5, but as I said, when you actually sit down and watch it being executed, it's just long and drawn out. Like, I don't know, like someone went back and don't know, like maybe they like tightened up the edits. So you could maybe get like a cool like 2-hour movie out of this. Maybe I'm sure there's a way to do it. You know, hit the high notes, hit all the beats, hit the good stuff. You could probably like how they did it when we watched the Ice Princess storyline. Like we watched it in like an hour and a half. We got the whole storyline.
Something like that. Like we got like the main beats of the storyline.
Yeah, like we didn't have to see. I don't know, John Black in Marlena's room like 400 times. We could have done without that, but. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, so it gets a 4 for execution. It would have been a perfect thing. It's iconic in my mind. You still hear about it today.
I will say one of the things I like about going back to this storyline is a good chunk of these characters are still on Days of Our Lives. Marlena's there, John's there, Abe, Kristen's there, but now she's obsessed with John's grown-up son, Brady, who was a baby at this point.
She's a cougar.
Oh my gosh. Like, it was kind of weird to go back and see Kristen DeMera before she was, like, totally crazy.
We'll flip over the hourglass and talk about it again some other time, maybe. Maybe we'll get to do Sammy's amnesia storyline, which I've been trying to find for, like, years. I need to see that in its glory, because I was just so enthralled in that. Her getting hit by a car, but she got her memory back, and she remembered that she was an evil bitch, but she was like still pretending to be this sweet little girl, and everyone went along with it. It was great. I loved it. You know, like no one was like, "Hey, you know, you're an evil bitch." They just pretended that she was just this sweet little thing. It reminded me of what's that movie? That like little girl. It's like kind of like The Good Son, but it's like from like the 50s or 60s. That little girl, and she's like really like a killer. It just kind of reminded me of that.
I don't know what you're talking about. So.
We'll add it in the show notes. We'll do a correction corner. All right. I'm excited for next week. We're going back to a world we've been to at least twice, I think. Yeah, I think we've been there twice, and it's a world we talk about constantly. We're always dipping in to discussion of the show, not just on the podcast, but also in our little private chats and DMs. We're going to, it's a familiar place. It has one of my favorite TV moms of all time. Definitely a top 2. We're going back to the world of the Seavers. We're going to spend some time with Growing Pains. You did like a big sigh really. I knew you didn't know. I
could not remember. I'm sitting here like, well, I thought we were doing book club next.
Did I read my notes wrong? Hold on. No, my note says Growing Pains. I don't know about you.
I just know that we're doing a book club soon because I had to download the audiobook. I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, spoiler alert, we're doing book club soon, so get ready. You know what? Go to the library and just pick out a bunch of books because we're doing one of them. We don't know. Well, we know which one we're doing.
We know which one it is. We're not going to tell you until it's time.
Where can you follow our Wild Ass Adventures Cat? Also the other. Where can you follow us?
Oh my gosh, where can you follow us? You can follow us on Twitter.
Where can you?
At Very Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr at A Very Special Podcast. Do not accept invitations. We're on YouTube. Pretty much every podcast listening app imaginable. You have found us somehow. So subscribe, rate us, tweet us, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can also follow Kat at Dutch Brothers Coffee. She's in 9 in the morning, getting her coffee, getting her cup of joe.
Okay, so now you're going to get me, like, sending you a Dutch Brothers video later today.
I better. All right. As always, girl,
bye.
Watch the skies for falling chandeliers.